Hello, I'm Adriana, physiotherapist and yoga instructor, and today's video will be a trauma-informed yin yoga practice focusing on relaxation. Yin yoga typically has shapes or forms that are held for longer periods of time, and oftentimes props are used, so it might be useful to grab some props. You could grab a block if you have one at home, you could grab pillows, a blanket, anything that you have around the house that will provide you with some support as we're moving through different shapes. If you have a bolster, that would be great as well. And it also might be nice to get into something that's a little bit warmer and a little bit cozier. As I mentioned in yin yoga, the forms are held for longer periods of time. So go grab all those things and come on back when you're ready, and we'll get started. I invite you to join me in a comfortable sitting position, whatever that looks like for you to start. I am sitting on a block as well as a pillow. That's helping my hips stay up a little bit higher, and that just feels better for my hips today. So if you have anything at home that can help support you better, feel free to sit on that. If you'd like, you can close the eyes or perhaps gaze forward in front of you. Closing the eyes doesn't feel like a good option today. That is totally okay. You're more than welcome to keep them open. And I'll be starting today's video by focusing on some breathing for a few moments to settle into the yin practice today. If it feels good for you, I invite you to take your awareness towards your breathing. Maybe noticing if you're breathing through your mouth, through your nose. Maybe noticing if your breath feels like it's coming from your chest or perhaps lower down in your stomach. Just taking some time here to recognize the breath without trying to change it in any way. If it's in your practice today, I invite you to choose an affirmation that you can bring with you throughout this practice. Perhaps something like, I am worthy of rest and relaxation, or my body is worthy of rest. I deserve to take care of myself. It is safe for me to move my body in a way that feels good. Those are just a few examples, but anything that comes to mind you can choose for today. And if you would rather not have an affirmation, that is a-okay. Taking a few more breaths here, perhaps trying to get that breath a little bit deeper in the belly. Maybe even making that breath go into the side body and the back body. Always remembering that you can switch out of the form at any time. You can lie or sit or stand in a movement that feels good for you. It is your choice. One more inhale. Maybe on the exhale, exhaling through the mouth, letting everything roll. If your eyes are closed, I invite you to open them. Moving into a long sitting position. As I mentioned, in yin yoga, the forms are held for longer periods of time. So note that you can get out at any time if something doesn't feel right for you today. I'm going to give a couple different variations for long sit. So if it doesn't feel good to have the legs completely straight, you can always put a pillow underneath the legs and have a bit of a bend in the knees. Another variation might be to place a few pillows or a bolster on your legs so that you can rest your head gently on the props. So whatever variation feels better for you, you get to decide. And if neither one feels okay, you can always do something different. You might notice a bit of pulling or sensation in the back of the legs here. Remembering that we don't want anything to feel painful. If anything feels painful or doesn't feel good, remember you can always get out. If it feels good, can you relax even more? Perhaps relaxing the muscles of the face and the jaw. Maybe letting the head rest even more than it already is. Or maybe letting the arms, the upper body melt into the props. Taking 5 more breaths. I am worthy of rest. And in your own time, if your head is resting on anything, bringing your body up. You have any props or pillows or blankets, it might be useful to move them to the side for a minute. If it feels like your legs need a little bit of movement now, you can always give them a bit of a shake or a little bit of movement before we move into the next shape. Coming into child's form whenever you are ready. I'll give a few variations for this as well. So you can have your legs together, your knees together, or you can bring your knees as wide as the mat as you would like. Perhaps having the feet together. Once again, if you have pillows or a blanket, you might want to place them down in front of you so you can rest your body and your head on the pillows. You might even choose to place a blanket behind you so that your upper body is warm. You get to choose whatever feels good for you today. Bringing the chest and body down whenever you're ready, if you're joining me in this child's form. Taking 10 breaths here. You may decide to switch from cheek to cheek if one side of your neck doesn't feel quite as comfy. Always remembering that you can get out at any time. You may be feeling a bit of a pull in the back here. You can always place a pillow or a bolster underneath your sit bones if that feels better. Two more breaths. And if you're with me in child's form, I invite you in your own time to come on up. If you had the blanket on you, it might be nice to take it off. If you have pillows or bolsters, it might be nice to move them off to the side. If it's in your practice, I invite you to come into pigeon form. So we'll do this on both legs, going onto the hands and knees. Bringing the left knee behind the left hand and the left foot behind the right hand. Placing the right toes down on the mat. A couple different variations here. You may decide to stay up on your hands or perhaps go down on your forearms. It might be nice to grab a pillow here and place it down so you can rest on the pillow again. And as well, if you do have pillows or a block, it might be nice to place it underneath that left sit bone just to get a little bit more support in through the left glute. So lots of different variations and options. You can choose whatever feels best for your body. Whenever you're ready, coming down into the variation that you would like. Once again, taking 10 breaths here. Always remembering that if it does not feel good, you can move into something else that does feel good. You might be noticing some sensation in that left hip, perhaps even the front of the right hip. You might not notice a sensation at all, and that's okay. I am worthy of choosing movement that feels good for my body. Perhaps can you relax even more into the forearm? Can you let go of any tension in the shoulder or in the hips? Maybe you can remind yourself it is safe to relax. If it doesn't feel safe to relax, that's okay. Choose something that does feel safe. 2 more breaths. If you're on your forearms or you have a pillow, making your way up to the hands. And switching to the other leg here. So bringing that left hip back, switching so that the right knee goes behind the right hand, the left foot goes behind, the right foot goes behind the left hand. And you can decide if you'd like to do the same variation as the other side, or maybe you choose something different. We'll be taking 10 breaths here again. You can always switch what you're doing after a few breaths. Try a couple different variations. Perhaps noticing different sensations on the right side than the left. Trying not to place judgment on the differences, just observing. Trying not to place judgment on if you want to get out of the form or if you want to choose something different. You get to decide what works for you. Two more breaths. Maybe relaxing even further for the last breath. Coming back up onto the hands if you're on the forearms. If you'd like to stay in longer, you're more than welcome to. Whatever works. We're going to be moving into the last couple shapes here. So we'll be on our back for the rest of the class. Have pillows once again. It might be nice to use one. Support the head here. Coming onto your back in your own time. It might be nice to take a second to see if there's any particular movement that your body is asking for from you. Maybe the legs or the arms want to shake gently. Maybe the knees want to bend. Maybe the hips want to be lifted up slightly. Just seeing if there's anything that the body is asking for from you. If you like, you can join me bringing the right knee to the chest. Gently tucking the chin. Maybe doing some gentle side to side movements with that right leg. Getting a little bit of a massage into the low back and right hip. Perhaps you bring the left knee up to join the right one. Tucking the knees into the chest, chin tucked. So again, maybe rocking side to side, getting a bit more of a massage through the back. Keeping that left knee tucked, straightening the right leg. Continuing that gentle back and forth movement of the left hip. Ending today's practice in whatever form feels good. I am going to place a pillow underneath my knees here to get a little bit more support underneath them. You may decide that you want a bolster underneath your back, or perhaps a block and a pillow to lift up the back a little more. And if you have a blanket, you might decide to use the blanket as well. So choosing whatever feels good. Those are a few different variations that you can choose from, or you might decide to just lie completely flat on the back. Maybe you choose to not be on your back at all. Maybe you decide to go on your side or on your stomach. Sit. You are worthy to decide to move in a way that feels good for you. And if you chose a different affirmation today, perhaps saying it out loud to yourself or thinking about it in your head, seeing how it feels to hear that. You relax even more. Perhaps scanning the body to see if there's anywhere that feels like it's holding tension. Bringing some awareness there and seeing if you can let that tension go. Thank you for choosing to do something for yourself today. Thank you so much for choosing to practice with me.